Ukrainian President Volodymy Zelensky visited the battlefield near the Dnipro region today. He met soldiers who were being treated in the military hospitals. Zelensky awarded souvenirs to soldiers and hospital workers. He thanked the soldiers and medical professionals for their sacrifice. Leaders from African nations arrived in Russia's St. Petersburg on Wednesday. They are attending the second Russia-Africa Forum. African leaders met Russian President Vladimir Putin. A possible return of Russia to the Black Sea grain deal is also likely to be discussed. The leaders will also discuss the situation of Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, President Putin met with leaders from the African Union. He said, and I quote, "Russia supports full membership for the African Union to the G20 group." He further said that the decision could be taken in September in India. Remember, India hosts the presidency of the G20 this year. The G20 summit will be held in India's capital, New Delhi, in September. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un gave a tour of a warehouse to Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu. Kim showed Shoigu North Korea's ballistic missiles and drones. The missiles that were displayed have been banned by the UN Security Council. North Korea will also show these weapons to its people in a military parade. The parade will commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Korean War. Niger's president, Mohamed Bazoum, was removed from power on Wednesday. His presidential palace was stormed by soldiers from the Niger army in a military coup. After taking control, Niger's army has closed its international borders. Meanwhile, protests have erupted in the West African nation. Demonstrators are demanding the release of President Bazoum. Australia signed a major defense deal with South Korea. Canberra will purchase 129 infantry fighting vehicles from Seoul. The deal is worth over $4 billion. This is one of the largest projects in the history of the Australian Army. The vehicles will be assembled in Australia. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken met New Zealand's Prime Minister Chris Hipkins earlier today. The two leaders discussed increasing cooperation in the Pacific. This comes as the US invited New Zealand to be a part of the AUKUS alliance. AUKUS is a trilateral security pact between the US, Australia and the UK. Blinken is on a tour of Pacific nations. He will next visit Australia. Two former US Navy pilots and a former intelligence officer testified about unidentified flying objects or UFOs on Wednesday. The three officials said they had witnessed unusual activity that they did not know how to explain. They urged the US government to be more transparent about UFOs and alien sightings. Last week, the White House said that some US military pilots had allegedly seen UFOs during training missions. The top portion of a construction crane collapsed in New York City on Wednesday. At least 6 people were injured as the broken crane hit a high-rise building before falling onto the streets during rush hour. New York officials have cordoned off the area for public use. The cause of the crane collapse is still being investigated. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau reshuffled much of his cabinet on Wednesday. Trudeau retained his finance and foreign ministers. He reassigned the roles for Canada's defense and public safety ministers to curb further violence. Protesters clashed with the police in the Latin American nation of Peru on Wednesday. Peru's police officials fired tear gas to disperse the crowd. The protests erupted outside the building of the Congress over the selection of a new board. Demonstrators alleged that Peru's Communist Party formed an alliance with a right-wing party after years of rivalry. Protesters say the ministers formed the alliance just to gain access to power. Teachers in the South American nation of Chile held a 24-hour nationwide strike on Wednesday. They demanded better working conditions and safer classrooms. They urged the government to pay the debt owed to teachers since the year 1981. Chilean teachers are expected to hold another 48-hour-long strike in the month of August. In climate, a heat wave has dramatically worsened water scarcity in Afghanistan. Massive shortages have forced residents of Kabul to pay high prices or travel long distance to get access to water. People were seen queuing up outside a wedding hall to get free water. These queues even blocked a road. The streets of Greek capital Athens are empty as a heat wave continues to grip the country. Temperatures soared to as high as 43 degrees Celsius. It has forced residents to cut back on outdoor activities. The Greek Meteorological Service forecasts temperature in some parts of the region as high as 45 degrees Celsius. Heat waves have swept the European region. It has sparked wildfires and smashed temperature records. In 2020, Barcelona's local council set up a network of facilities to act as so-called climate shelters. This included libraries, museums, schools, sports centers and parks. It offers locals an easily accessible escape from sizzling temperatures. Temperatures soared to 43 degrees Celsius in part of Turkey's largest city, Istanbul. It marked one of the hottest days of the season. City's residents have been sweltering this summer. Meanwhile, a forest fire broke out in the region. Water-dropping planes, helicopters and firefighters were deployed to fight the fire. Clouds of smoke from wildfires billowed in the countryside of Syria's Mediterranean port city of Latakia. Large areas of the region sweltered under an intense summer heat wave. Firefighters battled to put out blazes across the region. A new footage shows the extent of devastation caused by a wildfire in Sicily. It has turned the hills surrounding the 5th century BC temple of Segesta into ash. The Sicilian archaeological site was temporarily closed to carry out checks for potential damage. The wildfires in Italy's southern island of Sicily have killed 3 elderly people so far. Hundreds of vehicles were submerged in a commercial neighborhood in the Noida city in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. This is after the Hindon River overflowed. People living near its banks had to move to higher ground. Meanwhile, some of the nearby schools in Noida were shut down. On to business and tech now. According to reports, Netflix is restructuring its advertising partnership with Microsoft. This is for its lower-priced ad-supported subscription plan. Last year, the streaming company launched the $7 monthly plan with commercials in 12 markets. Back then, it selected Microsoft as its technology and sales partner for the offering. However, Netflix is now reworking the agreement to reduce the revenue guarantee due to slowing growth of the ad tier. Elon Musk's X.com, formerly known as Twitter, has been blocked in Indonesia. The social media platform has been blocked under the country's online pornography and gambling laws. This is because the domain X.com has been previously used by illegal sites. These sites broke the country's content laws. Reports say Microsoft will provide artificial intelligence technology to the Japanese government. Japan's digital agency will use the technology developed by Microsoft-backed startup OpenAI. It will be made available on a trial basis from the autumn. It will be tested for tasks such as preparing minutes of meetings and analyzing government statistics. The US Federal Reserve has raised its interest rates by 25 basis points. This is in line with analysts' estimates. The rates are now set within the range of 5.25% to 5.50%. This is its highest level in over 2 decades. The latest hike is the central bank's 11th in its last 12 meetings. Last month, the Fed held its rates to assess the result of its previous rate hikes. Meanwhile, the US Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has said that the central bank staff no longer expects a US recession. In November last year, the Fed for the first time introduced the notion that a recession was likely. Earlier this year, amidst the banking crisis, the central bank outrightly forecast a mild recession. However, it has now shifted from its previous stance. As per reports, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia may cut about 200 jobs. Some of those employees could also be redeployed into some other roles. Last month, CBA's peer Westpac had laid off 300 employees in its consumer and business banking segments. A subsidiary of Taiwanese firm Foxconn is in talks with the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. This is to build a new plant for electronic components in the state. Foxconn Industrial Internet has reportedly shared a plan to invest about $200 million in the facility. Last week, the CEO of FII and other representatives met Tamil Nadu officials to discuss the investment. Cryptocurrency exchange Binance has withdrawn its application for a crypto license in Germany. Earlier, German regulators had reportedly told the company they would not grant it a crypto custody license. The company and CEO Changpeng Zhao have been under pressure since last month. This is ever since US regulators sued Binance for operating a quote-unquote web of deception. A US Congressional committee advanced a bill on Wednesday. The bill aims to develop a regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies. If successful, the new bill will be a milestone for the Capitol Hill in its efforts to codify federal oversight for the crypto industry. The crypto industry has been in the regulatory crosshairs since the collapse of major firms like FTX last year. A US judge has said he will consider jailing Sam Bankman-Fried ahead of its trial. His bail conditions have also been tightened. The judge has restricted Bankman-Fried's ability to communicate publicly. He has been accused of crossing a line by sharing his former romantic partner Caroline Ellison's personal writings with a reporter. Prosecutors say this is his second instance of witness tampering. Sam Bankman-Fried was the founder of the fallen crypto firm FTX. Moving to sports, Indian cricketers have written to the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI. This is according to reports. The letter was after their flight got delayed for several hours ahead of the first one-day match against the West Indies. The players were supposed to travel at night after the Test series ended. They landed in Barbados for the ODI match early in the morning without ample sleep. The Indian team members requested the BCCI to not book midnight flights so they could get time to rest between the matches. England Test cricket captain Ben Stokes will go on a 6-month break to resolve his knee problem. This means Stokes may not play until England's first Test in India in January. The 32-year-old bowled only 38 overs in the Ashes this year due to the knee injury. In football, the reigning champions US drew 1-1 with the Netherlands in the FIFA Women's World Cup. Dutch midfielder Jill Rood scored in the 17th minute. American player Lindsey Horan scored in the second half to level the scores. This is the first time the Americans were held in a World Cup draw since the year 2015. The Indian team have gotten a green light from the Sports Ministry to compete in the 2023 Asian Games. Both the men's and the women's team will travel to China to participate in the event. The teams got an exemption from the Sports Ministry despite not meeting the ranking criteria. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur tweeted the rules were relaxed given their recent performances. English Premier League club Arsenal won 5-3 against Barcelona in a pre-season friendly in Los Angeles. Leandro Trossard, who was signed in January, contributed 2 goals in Arsenal's victory. Arsenal have only beaten Barcelona once in their last 9 attempts in the Champions League. Spanish football club Real Madrid won 2-0 against Manchester United in a pre-season friendly in Houston on Wednesday. Jude Bellingham, who joined Madrid in June, scored his first goal within just 6 minutes. Joselu scored the goal in the final minute for Madrid to seal the victory for the club. French striker Kylian Mbappé refused to meet with Al Hilal officials for talks in Paris. The Saudi club have offered a record-breaking fee to the PSG striker for his transfer to Saudi Arabia. According to a newspaper, Mbappé had never considered the move as an option. The captain of the English Premier League club Liverpool is leaving the club. The 33-year-old midfielder captained the club for 12 years. Jordan Henderson posted a goodbye message on his social media for his fans. He is now all set to join the Saudi club Al Ittifaq. In badminton, Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen secured a spot in the quarterfinal at the Japan Open. Sen defeated Japan's Kanta Tsuneyama 21-14 and 21-16 in the men's singles category. He will now face another Japanese opponent on Friday. Meanwhile, India's HS Prannoy also reached the quarterfinal at the Japan Open. He lost the first set to his fellow Indian Srikanth Kidambi but rallied back to win 21-9 and 21-9. Prannoy will now face Denmark's Victor Axelsen on Friday. In entertainment, American actor Kevin Spacey has been found not guilty on all the sexual offensive charges. The actor was facing 9 charges of sexual misconduct towards 4 men. The incidents allegedly took place between 2004 and 2013. The survivors of the sexual misconduct called Spacey a sexual bully and a predator. Elon Musk has mocked Greta Gerwig's film Barbie. He said, "If you take a shot every time Barbie says the word patriarchy, you will pass out before the movie ends." The Barbie movie has made an attempt to talk about women's struggles in a patriarchal world. The movie also questions men's place in the society and focuses on internalized misogyny with a comic twist. The movie has made more than $400 million at the international box office. Father of the atomic bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer's grandson, has spoken up about a part of the movie that he thought was inaccurate. Charles Oppenheimer pointed out that the part he liked the least was the poison apple reference. He said, and I quote, "There is no record of him trying to kill somebody. That's a really serious accusation. There is not a single enemy or a friend of Robert Oppenheimer who considered it true." As Hollywood writers and actors continue to strike to demand higher pay, Netflix has posted a new job profile. The streaming platform is looking for a machine learning project manager and is willing to offer a compensation between $300,000 to $900,000 a year. According to the Screen Actors Guild, 87% of the union's actors make less than $26,000 in a year. The use of artificial intelligence or AI in the production of movies and series has been a major bone of contention for striking actors and writers. Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Movies are working on a sequel of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. A 2-season series has been planned which will be a bridge between the films. Filmmakers say that Ninja Turtles Leo, Raph, Donnie and Mikey will be challenged like never before. Japanese singer Shinjiro Ete has announced that he is gay. The J-pop singer came out as a homosexual person while giving an emotional speech at a fan event in Tokyo. The singer said, and I quote, "I respect you and believe you deserve to hear this directly from me. For years, I struggled to accept a part of myself, but now I finally have the courage to open up. In Japan, same-sex marriages are illegal." Singer Beyoncé's mother, Tina Knowles, and her husband, Richard Lawson, have separated after 8 years of marriage. Knowles filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences as the reason for separation. She has also asked the court to restore her name to Celestine Knowles. Tina Knowles and Richard Lawson got married in 2015 after dating for 2 years. American actor Ethan Slater has filed for divorce from his wife Lily J after 4 years of marriage. This comes amid rumors that the actor is romantically involved with singer Ariana Grande. This also happened just days after Grande parted ways from her husband Dalton Gomez. Slater and Grande are co-stars for their upcoming movie Wicked. Irish singer and songwriter Sinead O'Connor has died at the age of 56. The singer became famous in her mid-20s. She is known for being vocal about her private struggles and her fierce and expressive music. A few years ago, O'Connor revealed that she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The singer's teenage son died by suicide last year. After this, O'Connor tweeted, "No point living without him." And finally, Oscar-winning Hollywood screenwriter Bo Goldman has died at the age of 90. Goldman won Oscars for his scripts in the movies One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Melvin and Hart. During his long career, Goldman also won New York Film Critics Award, 2 Writers Guild Awards, and 3 Golden Globes.